What is up, guys? Zan for Playbook.gg, and in today's video, we're going to go over Madden 20 Mythbusters, and we're going to talk about some things that you may or may not have known about throwing power and how it plays in this game. But first, make sure you guys take a quick second, hit that follow button, hit that notification bell, so that way you guys don't miss any of the videos that we put up here on the Playbook.gg YouTube channel. Now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into what we're talking about today. So I want to go ahead and kind of give you a little bit of background as to what prompted me to do this video. Now, yesterday on the channel, we put out a YouTube video talking with AntCap about how the high ball feature allows you to add distance to your throwing power. So for those of you that are playing Draft Champions mode and you get stuck with a quarterback that really doesn't have a big arm, I know right now in the middle of November, Mariota is one of the options that a lot of players are using right now because he has a nice release. And we're going to talk about release a little bit in today's video as well. But you don't really get the throw power that you're looking for. So sometimes you underthrow or the ball hangs up on you on those one-play touchdowns. So that in tandem with some of the experience that I've been having lately on Twitch when I've been streaming, you guys can check out my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/ozanope. And what we have been noticing on that channel is that when I was using Andrew Luck, for some reason, my quarterback, his throwing power dropped from 91 to 90, and I was unaware. I had shuffled around some chemistries, and I was unaware that I had lost a throwing power point. So what I was noticing is that the throw was going just as far with Andrew Luck, but DBs that were nowhere near the throw earlier, and it was one-play scores, we're now getting swats, interceptions, pass breakups, and a bunch of tip passes that were sometimes also being intercepted. So it was really frustrating there for me for about 24 hours before I noticed this, and it kind of prompted me into looking into throwing power and what it means in Madden 20. So one of the major myths out there is that throwing power is a distance thing. And while I believe that to be true, right now I think it's more important to talk about A to B or point A to point B. How long does it take for the ball to travel the distance? Now, one of the things that we found, and you'll see this in the study that we're going to show you, we're just going to show you a couple examples from what we tested, but we tested the same quarterbacks, so that way we had the same release, no defense on the field to chuck receivers, and we eliminated all the variables that we could possibly control from this study. And what we found is that quarterbacks at 90 and 91 throw power will throw the ball when you're trying to bomb a coverage, say you're just throwing a streak down the sideline, they're going to throw the ball about 62 yards. Both those players will throw the ball 62 yards. The difference is going to lie in how long does it take the ball to travel 62 yards. Now, we're going to go ahead and go to some footage here, but I want you guys to start thinking about why this is important, because it really is important at the end of the day. And we're going to go ahead and show you why that is very much so the case, especially in competitive Madden. So the first order of operations is to explain how we set up our case study. Our first example is going to test Russell Wilson in the same formation with the ball placed at the same spot on the field with no defense to impede the receivers, throwing to the same target, running the same route down the field. Now, we're going to show you just a couple of examples simply because I don't want this video to be a half-hour long thing, but we tested this for multiple hours here at Playbook.gg, and the study was very conclusive in showing that our consistent throwing power at 90 was a 62-yard throw, give or take a yard, and our hang time on these throws was give or take 3.6 seconds. So what we're going to do is take it to the field here, and we're going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So now we're on the field here. The ball is placed at the 40-yard line. We are in the same formation here that we're going to run the entire example, and we're going to throw the ball to the X receiver. Now, with a little bit of human error introduced, we are trying to throw the ball as he hits the 35-yard line, leading him towards the end zone. And as you can see, the throw is going to travel give or take 62 yards. So from where we are with our quarterback, not moving him in the pocket, we're basically at the 34-yard line. So from the 34 to the 50, that's 16 yards. Now we're going to go ahead and throw the ball, and we start a stopwatch. You see that I'm stopping the frames, and I start the stopwatch with the throwing animation, and I stop it as the ball touches the wide receiver's hands. If you guys would like, you could go ahead and hand time this on your own. Of course, I am only human. When you're talking about hand time numbers, you are going to run into a little bit of plus or minus error. That'll be true with any type of study. And what we found on this first rep was give or take 3.66 seconds of hang time. Now let's go ahead and show you another rep once again with Russell Wilson, 90 throw power, same launch point in the pocket, roughly the same timing, plus or minus a little bit of human error, throwing the ball to DK Metcalf, the same catch point, and we're going to go back into the instant replay. Now again, what we're doing right here is we are trying to get to the frame right before Russell Wilson starts his throwing animation. So it's obvious that every quarterback in the game has different throwing animations, but we start from the frame of the beginning of the throw until the frame that the receiver touches the ball. And what we came up with in this example was 3.60 seconds of hang time. So now we begin the process of going into the roster file and switching Russell Wilson's throw power from 90 to 91. We go back into practice mode, and we set up the exact same controls that we can, the same formation, the same hash mark, the same placement on the field, the same receiver, and we do the exact same timing of the throw. Once they hit the 35 is about when we get rid of the football, and we go into the instant replay to compare our time or our hang time of the throw. And what we found was pretty drastic. While the ball does not actually go further, it's still about a 61, 62-yard throw in the air. What we found is that when we do our stopwatch, again, we're starting to the frame right before the throwing animation begins, and we start the stopwatch and the replay simultaneously, and then we stop the stopwatch as soon as the ball contacts DK Metcalf's hands. What we notice is that the point A to point B, or the throwing animation to the catch, took 3.34 seconds, down roughly 0.3 of a second from the 90 throw power, despite the ball not traveling further. Now let's go ahead and get into one more example here with the 91 throw power. Please keep in mind that when we did this test, we did far more than 2 throws with both throw powers, but we don't want this video to run 30 minutes long to explain what we found. This is more of just kind of a synopsis of what we found. Now, once again, you saw everything was the same: quarterback, receiver, route combination, launch point in the pocket, roughly trying to start the throw as he hits the 35-yard line. You can see that we're trying to get the framing right yet again here, start the stopwatch simultaneously with the replay at the moment the quarterback's throwing animation starts to the moment it gets caught. And once again, we are finding about 62 air yards. And once again, with this example, 3.34 seconds. So both of our reps here that we've shown, and pretty much consistently at 91, actually more consistent at 91, we found that the throw power at 91, this hang time on a 61 to 62 yard throw is pretty spot on, 3.34 seconds. And we've had, 3.33, 3.35, but really consistently showing that it was 3.34 seconds of hang time on this throw. So what does that mean exactly when we're talking about competitive Madden? Because, you would think that only 0.2 of a second doesn't matter that much, right? Well, the truth is that it does matter. Throw power is something that a lot of players think is a threshold thing in Madden. They view it as, okay, well, once you hit 90 throw power, they're only going to throw the ball 62 yards, so I'm good. I don't really have to worry about it until the next threshold. Now, I'm not here to tell you that there aren't going to be benchmarks that increase the actual distance that you can throw the ball. So, you might have another one at 93 or another one at 95. However, this study is to kind of prove those players that there is value in going up incrementally, even if you're not hitting a threshold for distance, because you're talking about how long the ball takes to get from point A to point B. I've talked to players out there in the community that just view it as a throwing distance thing when it's actually a ball velocity thing. So if you actually think about the math on this, when you have 91 throw power, the ball travels 62 yards in the air in 3.34 seconds. When you have 90 throw power, it will travel the same 62 yards. However, it takes roughly 3.6 seconds, give or take. We're talking about 25 hundredths of a second or a quarter of a second. Now, when you think about the way the game is played, you could say, okay, well, just timing wise, it's a quarter of a second faster from A to B, or you could view it as it's a quarter of 60 frames per second. So what's 25% of 60? That's 15. So that's 15 frames of coverage that a free safety that you're trying to throw that one play bomb against cannot break on that throw. That's 15 frames of coverage they cannot travel to stop that throw. Now, obviously, we're talking about Russell Wilson. If you actually want to get down and dirty with this study even further, every quarterback in the game kind of has their own animation. We've all seen quarterbacks that cock their arm and wind up to throw. We've seen quarterbacks that flick the wrist and they get the ball out, like Aaron Rodgers. Every quarterback in the game has a different throwing animation. So if you actually wanted to take this study a little bit further, you could actually look at it from a standpoint of who's got the shortest release animation. In that example, you saw Russell Wilson, he gets the ball out pretty decently, but he's not Aaron Rodgers. If I wanted to shave a few extra frames off of that time from throw start to catch complete, you go with a quarterback that has a shorter release. However, what we were testing in this study was simply put how long it takes for the ball to get from point A to point B while keeping our quarterback the same. So what you could do next, the next step, if you guys at home want to test this, would be try the same study out with Nick Foles, try it out with Aaron Rodgers, or at least go into the roster file and see what release type EA has given these guys. And that will help you decide when you're building your MUT team, what quarterback is the best. It also kind of lends a little bit of credence to the fact that most players out there want the dashing deadeye because the throw on the run animations take less frames for the ball to leave the quarterback's hand from their windup than it does when you're in the pocket. So when you think about how MUT Drafts works, which is the current MCS season, you're talking about players deciding between quarterbacks that not only does their animation matter, but their actual throwing power still matters as well. You might have a quarterback that has higher throwing power, but a wind-up animation that the advantage you would have in the throwing power is negated by how much longer their wind-up takes or their throwing animation takes. So you might have, like, say, an example where, let's say you're just playing MUT with a power-up where you have like an Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has that flick of the wrist animation, the ball gets out quickly. You might be better off with an Aaron Rodgers that has, say, halfway powered up. Let's just say that there's an 85 throw power Aaron Rodgers out there that makes the throw for you better than, say, a 90 throw power. I'm trying to think of a quarterback that has a long windup. Let's say Peyton Manning in the game before they updated his throwing animation. He had some crazy windups before they patched it. For instance, you might have to compare, okay, this guy has higher throw power, but this guy's got a faster release. That would be the next step for this. Now, of course, as the ratings go up in MUT throughout the year, we're going to do our best to try to figure out, okay, is 95 throw power where you get an extra 4 or 5 yards on your throw? Does 62 yards on that throw now become a max distance of 66? Does 99 throw power throw the ball 70 yards in the air? What do you start to do when you have bazooka active? We're going to try to pay attention to those things. But I hope that this video was informational for you guys because it's something that I wanted to learn myself. And when I found out how drastic it was, I certainly wasn't thinking a quarter of a second for the same throw going simply from 90 to 91. I was thinking it'd be marginal, a tenth of a second or less. But to see these drastic results was pretty eye-opening. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up below. Comment for sure. This is going to be something that is going to be a very polar topic. People are going to believe the stats, or they're going to say you didn't do this, you didn't do that. I want to hear what you guys have to say because these types of studies are really fun to do. This is kind of the foundation for Madden for me. This is what I do in my spare time, and I kind of wanted to give you guys kind of a peek behind the curtain at the stuff that Ant Cap and I look at when we are labbing the game. So hope you guys enjoy the video, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. If you like this video, check out one of the videos on your screen right now. And for more in-depth analysis, visit www.playbook.gg for detailed game plans written by pro Madden players. Mastered the game with playbook.gg.